What's good, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Real Talk Show. I'm glad to have you on this amazing Friday afternoon. And for those who are joining us right now, you are welcome. And for those who are still tuning in, keep tuning in because the Real Talk Show is here. So today we are having a special episode, which is brought to us with the compliments of the Youth-Led Advocacy Project, and also the Youth Response Challenge, which is supported by Action Aid with the generous support by 𝗣𝗑. So I'd love to invite everybody who's joining us to sit down, relax, as we are going to dive into today's topic. So today we are talking about teenage pregnancies and abortion. This is just a continuation to last week's topic, where we're talking about the importance of family planning in preventing teenage pregnancies. But before we dive into it, I would love to introduce our other host, who's going to later help introduce our guest for today's show. Hi, Nigel.
Hi, Madungo. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Great episode on the way. Just as you had mentioned, a huge continuation of our topic last week. Today we'll be diving into teenage pregnancy and abortion, something that, you know, faces us and something that we generally relate with. And we have two special people who will help us, you know, have a candid conversation about teenage pregnancy and how it affects us in our society. So we have Ms. Monida Mwiya, who's a national trainer in adolescent health, and Mr. Michael Mukumbuta, who's an adolescent health focal point person. So I would like to start with Monida. Just briefly introduce yourself, what you do, and we'll kick off the show after Mr. Michael goes after you. Over to you, Monida.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Monida Mwiya. I'm a registered nurse at Choma General Hospital. I'm a focal point person there also. I'm a trainer of trainers in adolescent health. I interact with adolescents on a daily basis to provide the services that they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Monida. Mr. Michael, go ahead.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Kumbuta Michael Mkumbuta is my name. I'm a healthcare worker from 𝗟𝗓 Peri-Urban Clinic. I'm a focal point person there for adolescent health. I'm also a comprehensive abortal care provider. Because 𝗟𝗓 is a faith-based facility, my role there mainly is to link those that require the service to other facilities that are providing the service. Thank you so much.
All right, Nigel, I think you're forgetting to introduce somebody else. I don't want to fight with you if you don't do that.
We have our very own sign language interpreter, Mr. 𝗟𝗪𝗲 𝗏𝗔𝗃. Glad to have you here always, being with us. Thank you.
All right. I'm glad that you do want to fight today. So as we dive into the show, I think this is a topic that hits both our countries or countries across Africa so much. And it's good that we're having this platform brought to us by the youth platform to actually talk about this. So I think I'm gonna start with Mr. Michael. Today I'm not being biased and starting with ladies, so today I'm starting with the men. Yeah, so from your experience, what are some of the common medical complications that you have seen that young girls have arising from unsafe abortion?
Well, thank you so much for that question. I feel from my experience, one of the most common medical conditions that arise from unsafe abortions is the issue of uterine perforation. So this is a case in which the womb is perforated, as most of the, how can I put it? Most of the abortions that adolescents and young people tend to perform those kinds where they tend to poke in or push in sharp objects within the, so it will go through the vagina and into the cervix, and finally into the uterus or the womb. So in that aspect, you find that they tend to perforate the uterus or the womb, which is also an emergency. The other one is sepsis or uterine infection. So others will tend to put certain chemicals or things that are going to actually infect the womb or the uterus, and that leads to infection of the uterus. Though at long term, others would experience infertility, but that is at long term, and the feedback is not there and then. So generally, I would say those two are the most common medical conditions that would arise from unsafe abortions.
Okay, Monida, as the registered nurse, you look so eager to answer that question. Can I pose it to you as well? Oh no, is that network disappointing us today? It's an amazing Friday afternoon. Why is it doing this to us? Nigel, what's going on?
I don't know. But in the meantime, as we continue highlighting the unspoken realities of teenage pregnancy and abortion, this Mr. Michael, from young people who qualify for comprehensive abortion care, can you briefly outline some steps that would be involved in the procedure at a selected health facility, like from initial consultation to the completion of the abortion?
Thank you so much, Nigel, for that question. Yeah, it is just like any other service that an individual comes for. So they'll be registered. In this case, they'll be registered in the CAC register or the So once registered, they'll undergo counseling, which is pre-abortion counseling. Pertaining to this particular pregnancy, that would prompt them to want to abort this pregnancy. So from there, they're also given information on the modalities or ways in which termination of pregnancy is done. They're also given legal information as well as medical information of how they qualify for them to be able to conduct a legal abortion or an abortion which is safe and in a safe environment. So those are some of the steps. Then, of course, depending on which one they'll choose, if it is the medical abortion or the surgical abortion, which involves inserting an instrument, of course, that is sterile to terminate the pregnancy. So depending on which one they are going to choose, they will be guided on the next step. But otherwise, generally, it's just like any other service that an individual comes for. And in this particular case, being abortion, they will just be registered in the comprehensive abortion care register, where the columns have some questions that they'll be asked, and then eventually the abortion will be conducted. Thank you.
Okay, nice. Monida, welcome back. You ran away from us. So we don't know if you're running away from the show, you're running away from the question. We don't know which one you're running away from.
Yeah.
But maybe you can just help continue the question that was posed to Mr. Michael by just highlighting the steps that young people can take, those young people who qualify for the comprehensive abortion care, what steps they can take to get to that. Yeah.
Okay, so in our health facilities, right now as we are speaking, we've got well-trained people who can conduct those legal abortions. So if that adolescent passes through our center, what we do, we receive them, of course, with love, kindness. We hear what they have come to do, because I know when they come at the facility, they'll not just open up to say, I've come for an abortion. We know we're talking about these adolescents who have to first look at the environment where they are for them to open up. So if we have such adolescents who come through the facility, we welcome them, we talk to them, we make the environment conducive for them so that they're able to express themselves and tell us why they are there. Once you receive that adolescent, if they open up to say, no, I've come for this service, if I'm able to conduct that service, I'll start the same process that Mr. Michael has said. If I'm unable to, because we know that that is a legal thing that needs to be handled by someone who's been trained, I will refer them. We've got a proper referral system whereby we refer this adolescent. I get this adolescent, I refer to Mr. Mkumbuta to say, this is an adolescent. I do a self-referral whereby I know such cases are sensitive. I don't just send these adolescents alone because I know they might change their mind on the way. So if possible, I go with that adolescent to the service delivery. I'm sure that this adolescent is in safe hands. I leave this person with the one who's being trained so that continuity of care is done in a proper way and legal way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. It's good that this issue is actually handled with so much caution from the word go. Don't you think so, Nigel? I feel like it's really important that that happens.
Because in a society where such a case of abortion is treated as a taboo, as something that's, that's not encouraged from back in the day. So having, a conducive environment where you feel welcome and you feel like you can easily express yourself. And because this is actually in a healthcare facility where you receive the utmost, type of quality of healthcare as opposed to doing it through other means. And then also I love how Michael mentioned about the counseling when someone comes to the center, the counseling they receive before they, go through the, what is it called? The comprehensive abortion care. Yes, the whole process. That counseling, the pre-counseling, and even the post-counseling after the process is quite fascinating and quite encouraging for other people to, if they want to take part in the procedure, they can easily feel that it's a very conducive environment. Just to remind you, our listeners, we are talking about teenage pregnancy and abortion and how if it's a big concern in our society today. If you want to reach us, comment, reach us through Facebook, LinkedIn, on X, and also on YouTube. Malungo, I think we would like to ask, what are some common barriers that adolescents face when trying to access sexual and reproductive health information and services, including safe abortion care?
Come on.
Sorry, I repeat the question.
Yes.
What are some of the common barriers that adolescents face when trying to access sexual and reproductive health information and services, including safe abortion care?
Okay.
It's how.
Some of the so some of the barriers that these adolescents face when they want to seek such services, more especially when it comes to the abortion services. One of the things that we've noticed most is the stigma, the self-stigma that they'll first have. They want to, when issues with abortions, even in society, even when it comes to adults, it's something that they look down on, like you're a sinner, why are you doing this? So that's the first thing that the self-stigma. It takes a brave adolescent to just come to the facility to just say, I want this service to be done on me. Most of the times they would take time. Maybe sometimes when they're coming, they've done other illegal means. They come in a state whereby maybe they are in situations that need health services. Maybe they go for illegal abortions. So self-stigma is one of them. And then the other thing, I would say it's lack of information. That most of them, they think the health facilities at the moment, we don't have people who are trained in these. They all look at it as a criminal thing and other things. So those who lack information about the legal abortions, they have challenges in accessing these services. But with where we are going right now, these informations are disseminated in the community, whereby these adults should know that legal abortions are done at each and every health facility. If
Oh my God, she dropped. Just when she was giving us very nice and important data, network just had to be against her. But anyway, I hope she continues when she comes back. But so we can't talk about legal abortions. We can't talk about abortions without talking about what exactly we think is causing these teenage pregnancies. So I would love to hear from the Kenyan side, because we have a Kenyan host right now. From your country, Nigel, what do you think causes these teenage pregnancies?
Just as what what's her name, Monida was talking about, the self-stigma I think is across the whole continent. You know, being raised in a society that first cherishes children, so the act of planning to abort it, regardless of whatever stage in life you're in, is that criminal perception of the action. But I believe as times are changing, things are evolving, some archaic practices that we used to practice back in the day are starting to change. And now this current generation, how they've been exposed to a lot of information now helps, you know, as Morida mentioned, someone who's brave. You have the information with you. You can research about it. You can reach out to us at Real Talk. The information is there. So now it's just you being brave and now stepping into a health facility and receiving the abortion care that you will require.
Okay. Michael, from your catchment area, or rather from your facility, what do you think really causes these teenage pregnancies in that area? What do you think leads young girls to actually having pregnancies at very young ages?
Thank you so much for that nice question. I say it's nice in the aspect that it's easy to answer, but it's something that looks at a very challenging situation where you have a rise in the teenage pregnancies. Well, I think I would just simply say unguided puberty or maturation. So unguided puberty and maturation is where it's normal for people to have feelings as they are undergoing puberty, but it's what they do with those feelings that matters. So most of the adolescents and young people tend to experiment. They experiment also to say, and they would want to experience intercourse, sexual intercourse. And by experiencing sexual intercourse, they would want to experience it to the fullest potential that it comes with. So most of them would say, you can't eat a banana while it's in the cover, you can't eat a fruit in a wrapper, such things. And as a result, you find that just one sexual encounter would actually lead to a pregnancy. And this is a pregnancy that was unintended and unplanned.
Yeah.
So that has somehow shown to contribute to the rise in the teenage pregnancies that we have in our area. The other thing is wrong role models. So as you know that here in Zambia we have the retention policy where if you are pregnant at one point you can still return back to school. And then so you find that maybe when they come back whilst they are still breastfeeding, the friends will just be saying, this is like a cute baby. So even them, they would want to, I think it's okay for me also to become pregnant whilst I'm in school. Since I can also still come back, and those people that come back with their babies and whatnot, they tend to gain the attention of others, and others would want to be accepted and also to gain the attention that the other person is getting. And so those two, I think, I would generally say those are the ones that have somehow contributed to the rise in the teenage pregnancies within our catchment area. Not to say the retention policy is not a good thing. It's a good thing, but it's done when these adolescents and young people are still mentally immature to, even to foresee the challenges that we're going to face in the near future. So they tend to outshine the others. I've got a baby, I delivered, I'm breastfeeding, I'm responsible and whatnot. So I feel those are the two that have contributed. The other one, though not much pronounced, I would say the 𝗍𝗠 also would have contributed, where the government had brought in modalities to respond to the droughts that we had experienced some two years ago. Yeah, so it's whereby when you get pregnant, the government starts paying you, is it 800 every 2 months?
Yeah.
And then also there was a rumor that it was increased to 1.2. So that also may have contributed to some of the rise in the teenage pregnancies within our catchment area.
I like especially the second and the third point you just mentioned. For the second one, because just sometime last week, actually came across there was an argument on social media on Facebook concerning pregnancies. So an unnamed baby mama posts something about how she managed to get through it, how she's proud to have a child, and she is there advising the young people out there that it's okay to be a mother at a young age. I've managed to proceed in life. I've managed to do this. So, without proper information, yes, what she was saying was right. It was good. It worked for her. But without the proper information to give to those young people, they'll think, oh, it's okay to actually get pregnant. If she got pregnant at that age and she's doing fine now, meaning I can also do the same. So I think it's really important for us in society to be able to disseminate some of the information we have in the right way. If it works for you, well and good, but it might not work for the next person. So let's be able to just share proper information on that end of things. Now let's talk about parents. Nigel, I would love us to talk about parents. I'd love us to talk about schools. I would love us to talk about our communities. What role do you think these play in avoiding teenage abortions or teenage pregnancies? What roles do you think parents and our schools have in this? I don't know who's ready to take up that question. It can be the host, it can be Michael, it can be Monida.
Just to highlight what Michael said, your society, you're a reflection of your whole society. So if your environment is not as healthy, then obviously the product of the environment will turn out not as healthy. So if parents, guardians, elders, older siblings are not playing their role in nurturing those who are younger than them, then the society will just continue becoming rotten. And so this is an opportunity for, just like what you just mentioned, the story of the lady who had a pregnancy experience. And funny thing is, this day and age, if we have a Swahili saying that says, asiyefunzwa na mamaye hufunzwa na ulimwengu. That means if the child is not taught by the mother, then the society or the outside will teach the child. So if you don't play your bit as a parent or as a mentor, then that's okay. Your kid will find other mentors outside, and the syllabus or the course of their mentorship may be worse than what you'd have told them. Monida, I think I'd like to throw this to you. Since there's like a whole challenge of poor dissemination of information, how do you think we can improve the dissemination of accurate information about sexual and reproductive health, including contraception and safe abortion options to adolescents in a way to make it accessible and understandable?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Parents, guardians, or let me just say gatekeepers play a major role in these issues that we're talking about, family planning and the issues with teen pregnancies. So the first step that we can do, I know a lot of parents, we might assume everyone knows about these things. So the first thing we could do, maybe as health facilities, as trainers or as health workers, is to have community dialogues where we bring in these issues, we educate these guardians, these gatekeepers on these issues that are happening in our society. In as much as we try to run away from these issues, sex is happening every day. This generation that we're in, a lot of our adolescents, teenagers are sexually active. And we are not going to run away from these things. It's happening from our homes and everything. So we need to get these gatekeepers on the issues that are affecting these adolescents. If we educate them, we also have to teach them the issues of stigma, because stigma starts from home. It's where this adolescent is coming from. So you find if the stigma is coming from there, how is it to make a brave step to go to a access when she's being stigmatized or being stigmatized at home? So information is abundant. We have community gatherings. We get these influential people in our society, maybe counselors, pastors, and other people, where they have got influence to talk about these issues in those various places where they are found. Like that, if these guardians and parents hear the information from these influential people, they'll be able to implement these issues that are affecting these adolescents to their homes without having any challenges. So for me, the major thing that we need to talk about is just giving information, educating them. We shouldn't assume that everyone knows about these issues. Thank you.
Okay. Nigel, can I also answer your question?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and also I feel social media plays a very huge role when it comes to disseminating information. And firstly, I would love to thank the youth platform for what they are doing right now, because this is one of the other ways that we can actually help in dealing with these issues. So I think as youths, as people out there, let's start using social media for the right reasons. I know we do a lot there, and I'm not saying everything else that you do is useless or is not okay, but let's use social media to disseminate information about teenage pregnancies, information about abortions, because most people think it's a crime, it's a crime. But then if we make it a norm, because as Monida said, we can't run away from how our generation is right now. People are sexually active. We can't run away from that anymore. I know in the past there were issues of where we can try and control that, but I think at this stage where we've gotten at, that's a very difficult thing to do. So the best thing we can do is use social media as young people, as youths, to actually help educate people out there on how to take care of themselves, how to prevent teenage pregnancies. If you find yourself in a position where you try to prevent it, it didn't work, how to actually access safe abortions, I think let's use these platforms for that. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say on that.
Absolutely. Fantastic. You have another question for our hosts?
There was one particular question that actually wrote down for them, because when I was going through this topic, I was like, you know what? I think this is something that we have to talk about here on the show. Let me just find it. I hope I don't lose it. Okay, it's here. So I don't know who I'm asking here. Whoever would just feel like they'll get this question, they'll get it for me. So from your perspective, how crucial is it to establish clear linkages between adolescent-friendly services and facilities that provide comprehensive abortion care? I don't know if you got that question. Can I repeat it?
Just repeat it one more time.
From your perspective, how crucial is it to establish clear linkages between adolescent-friendly services and facilities that provide comprehensive abortion care? I think Monida, you can help us with that one, and then we'll move it to Michael as well. Is she still with us?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
From my end, I think a long time we didn't have a lot of these services, the CAC issue, the legal way of conducting these abortions. A long time it used to be a challenge because most of the people are not trained. As for now, where we are going at, almost every facility has got a trained personnel who can handle these legal abortions. So the linkage part, it's not a challenge because when you come across an adolescent who wants to legally abort, we know where to take them. We know where to take them, and we know that the services that they'll be offered are legal. They're going to treat them well. They'll give them the counseling services that they need. These people are trained, are not going to stigmatize them because they also undergo those services, whereby they shouldn't look down on this person who has come to access those services. So the linkage or the referral procedure for now, I would say it's very easy because when I have one adolescent who wants to have their pregnancy terminated in a legal way, I know where to refer them, and I'll personally take them there so that the continuity of care is done in a clean and proper way. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Monida. And before, let me steal your show for a bit, Nigel. I have another question for Michael. I know I wanted you to answer the same previous one, but I think Monida has given us a good answer on that one. We've been talking about legal abortion. Can we just help the viewers out there, the young people out there, understand what exactly is the difference between the legal abortion and the illegal abortion? How can we differentiate those two?
Thank you so much, Malungo, for that question. I feel maybe as we are still discussing, I'm sure the legalities that pertain to abortions were mentioned, but just in a nutshell, I'd say it looks at the rationale or the reason for the abortion. That is one. The other thing is the environment where it is being conducted in. That is two. And then who is conducting the abortion? That is three. So for legal, it is done by trained health professionals. And then also just under the medical legal abortion, it looks at having 3 medical practitioners to approve that abortion, of which one of them should be a gyne and obstetric specialist. So what we do, because it's not easy every time that you have an individual seeking termination of pregnancy for you to access those signatories. So what we do is we have lifespan pre-signed forms that can go even up to a month. So you have the forms that are pre-signed by the specialist and 2 other medical practitioners. Then the other thing is the environment. It can also be an illegal abortion if you have the forms that are pre-signed, but you are conducting the abortion maybe in an environment which is not conducive. That makes it also illegal. So it is done in a health facility where, in an event that this person maybe reacts or tends to go into shock, be able to respond and then resuscitate that individual. The other thing is the threat. So the threat of this pregnancy would be in three ways. Is it a physical threat to the mother? Is it a mental threat to the mother? Or is it a threat to the already existing children? Now, in this case, we are talking about adolescents and young people, of which maybe they don't have already existing children. So the threat will come in where it looks at their physical well-being. As you know that if pregnancy continues to term and this person is not fully formed, those are the ones that can lead to issues such as 𝗵𝗶𝗸𝗃, which is postpartum hemorrhage. These people bleed to an extent where they can even die. The other thing would be birth defects. Maybe they would have a child, or they would carry the pregnancy to term, but the child would come out with defects. Maybe they don't have this and that. You know, there are a lot of aspects that can attribute to that, including one of them, which is nutrition. The other thing is fistula, which is an abnormal opening. An abnormal opening between maybe the vagina and the rectum, or the vagina and the bladder. So you find that fecal matter would start coming out from the vagina, or even urine. That is if they had carried the pregnancy to term. So those are some of the physical threats that could be there, including death. And then mentally, of course, we know it is just pregnancy itself, stress. And I would say the coping mechanism of most of the adolescents when it comes to stress are not that good. And if someone who is not pregnant was fallen pregnant, so those are some of the mental threats that could be associated with that. And also there's a possibility of postpartum psychosis. People would tend to lose it after they have delivered the baby. I remember one of the adolescents that came when I was still working at the correctional facility. She delivered quite well. Then when the baby was about 3 weeks old, all of a sudden when she went into the house, she started seeing the baby as being a snake, and she got stones and she started hitting the baby, and eventually the baby died. So it was the issue of now postpartum psychosis, where she lost it at some point. So those are some of the threats that can be associated with teenage pregnancies. And looking at all those, as a provider of comprehensive abortal care, I feel it is a lesser evil to just terminate the pregnancy before it leads to all those complications that can arise. Otherwise, generally, those are some of the aspects that qualify an abortion to be legal. It has to be signed by medical practitioners. The threat has to be genuine, it has to be there, and also the environment in which this abortion is being conducted. Thank you so much.
That was so much information, so much good information. I don't know how to explain it anymore. Nigel, what do you say about that information? Trust me, it just got me in the zone.
I was even going to ask you, as we finalize, a way to, a message to give young people, but I feel like in your presentation just now, you have properly highlighted and really spotlighted the difference between legal abortions and illegal abortions. And just if there's a necessity of going that route, always choose the legal way. It's always the safest way. The people conducting it are professionals. The environment, you have pre-signed forms that ensure your safety in the whole process. So as we come to an end, Malungo, it's been such an amazing interaction between Michael and Monida. And yes, I was going to ask them to give just a quick, closing remarks. Less than 30 seconds, Michael. Can you do that? Just key messages you'd want to convey to young people in our society regarding teen pregnancies, dangers of unsafe abortion, and what steps they can take to deal with this issue. Just less than 30 seconds, Michael.
Thank you so much, Nigel, for that. I feel we still go back to the saying, prevention is better than cure. For those that have already started indulging in sexual intercourse, my word is, let's play it safe. Let's practice safer sex. Then for those that haven't yet, let's delay until when we are fully capable to have a child as well as to take care of that child. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Monida, glad you're back. Just less than 30 seconds. Kindly give your closing remarks regarding, key messages you'd like to convey to young people in our society regarding teen pregnancy, the dangers of unsafe abortion, and how they can deal with this issue. Just briefly in less than 30 seconds as we conclude.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So like I said earlier, teenage pregnancies and abortions are a major threat to a lot of adolescents. Many have lost their lives. Some they have had their dreams shut down just like that. So as an adolescent health provider, I would love to tell the adolescents out there to know that each and every facility has got youth-friendly spaces where we have got trained adolescent focal point persons and we've got trained peer educators. When these adolescents go through the spaces, they will find their peers who educate them. If they're not comfortable with the health workers, they will find their peers who will tell them the dangers and they can prevent these issues that are affecting a lot of young ones. And then when it comes to abortion, these adolescents should know that no one should ask you for money. No one is allowed to pay. These services are free of charge. No wonder the Ministry of Health and other partners train these health workers who can deliver these services to them. No one should tell them to give any amount of money. If they come across anyone who wants to help them pay, with suggestion boxes in each and every youth-friendly spaces where they are advised to just write down their challenges so that these issues are dealt with at a certain level. Services are services, family planning, even the information that we give, no one is allowed to charge anyone. There are health workers out there who are free, who do not judge these adolescents, who've been trained under the issues of adolescence when they pass through our facilities. So the adolescents should feel free to see anyone at the facility who will welcome them, their peers who will talk to them in a good and friendly manner, who will not judge them, even if they think their issue is very complicated. Believe me, when they come, their issues will be solved in a good and powerful way. That facility, we need a health provider. I know this adolescent to be able to receive those services without being judged or being charged in any way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Malungo, do you have any closing remarks you'd like to give before we end the show?
Yeah, I think my closing remarks will be in line with the last thing that Monida said. And I'm glad that you actually mentioned that, because I think there are a lot of people out there who don't know that these services are actually given for free. Most people pay for them, and it happens so much. So I'm glad that the youth out here know that if you want to access free abortion, the legal abortion, it's free in health facilities. No one should make you pay. Thank you so much, Monida, for that one. I think that's all I had to say, Nigel. And for everybody who's watching us from out there, thank you so much for tuning in to the Real Talk Show. We have come to the end of our program to the end of this amazing episode. And this episode was brought to you by the Youth-Led Advocacy Project and the Youth Response Challenge, supported by ActionAid Zambia with the generous support of 𝗓𝗑, which is the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency. Thank you so much for everybody who are tuned in. Thank you so much, Monida and Michael, for your time here. We really appreciate. Nigel, any last closing remarks before we close?
Okay. Well, we forgot to mention, we'd also like to acknowledge the fantastic production crew at Pinch Africa for making this episode possible. Today's episode was teen pregnancy and abortion. Is it a big concern in our society today? A build-up to last week's topic that was the importance of family planning in preventing teen pregnancy. Always stay tuned at the youth platform. Keep us engaged. Talk to us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. It was such a pleasure hosting this show. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a beautiful afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.